We have a really, really cool opportunity today because Zion, which is my CEO, newly CEO of my company, of 1MT, well, we actually created the ROI method together. So what we're going to show and share with you today, I had it in my head, and sometimes you need someone to be able to extract that. And so we're going to be going through Omnipresence today specifically, and I've never been more excited for a training in my entire life. So, yes. What I'm going to be sharing with you today literally came by mistake. Like literally came, as if I was looking back, I love the quote by Steve Jobs that says, you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect the dots going backwards. And this is the epitome of that. And omnipresence, of course, being in the newsfeed, being on the screen, being in the inbox at the right time and at the right place with the right frequency, the right timing, that is what I'm excited to share with you today. So this came from, I don't know if you know too much about my story, but I did really, really well when I was a teenager. By the time of 21, I lost everything, was about $1.2 million in debt. And last year in September, things were going really, really good. $300,000-$400,000 months in my business. Just simply was not being fulfilled. And I think when you get to a certain level of abundance, you sort of be like, you know what, I want something more. There's something here for me that is more. And I remember walking into this mastermind in Utah, Baby Bathwater. You can search it online, Baby Bathwater, with 100 entrepreneurs that are all 7, 8, 9-figure business owners. And I continually had this phenomena of people coming up to me that I had no idea who they were. And keep in mind, these were multimillionaires, very successful people being like, Scott, I love your content. I follow you. My entire team follows you. Like, listen, we got it. I remember when the owner of Dollar Bear Club, which I completely looked up to you.
So all the people that we follow, right?
Yeah, all the people that I follow come up to me, and I'm just and saying, dude, your content's so amazing. We need to collaborate. We need to do stuff. And I was just, whoa, what happened? And I didn't really realize it. If I was looking at this, I didn't really realize it. So I went back home, blew up my business, went nomadic, and I remember driving my dream car, an Audi R8, in the Malibu Mountains. And I was reflecting on a lot of this. I was in a very reflective time. I was working only 1 or 2 hours a day, and I was in a very reflective state of being like, well, what is it that I really want to do now that I have complete freedom? I thought about the fact that the reason why that phenomenon of walking into a room and everybody knowing me was because when I had my past business, I had all this really great content. I knew I had this amazing story, and I wanted to be able to get it out to the people that were already leads. So of course, traditional lead generation is let's attract the attention of people. Let's put a message in front of them, and just one time, let's get that out to them. And maybe every once in a while, they'll see an email. And what I realized is by mistake, I created the omnipresence effect. I created a small pond in which I was a big fish. And the interesting thing is that a fish doesn't know how big the pond was. And I literally created and elevated my authority and almost celebrity status nearly overnight by mistake. And of course, it only worked because I was actually good at what I did. And that was the start of omnipresence. That was the start of realizing that there is an actual framework and structure to this, and start reverse engineering it. And then I have amazing people like Steve that's in this room actually looking at this right now, that's head of our paid advertising, that created a framework and structure to be able to deploy this. And we realized that Zion helped me kind of extract this. And what we realized is that there's a complete replicable way of doing what I did by mistake so that we can collapse time and that we can solve a lot of the problems that a lot of people that are wanting to scale their business have. Which comes down to everything from quite literally, trying to get people to show up, trying to get people to get off the content wheel, trying to get, if you just post organically, how small percentage of the people that you actually are influential to actually see it, being able to actually capture all of your actual audience, and making it so that when somebody gets on a phone call, they're literally like, and I love when this moment happens. It's kind of normal to me now, but at the beginning it was so fascinating. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm on the phone with you. Or people coming up to me here in Venice and being like, oh, I love your stuff and everything else. And I guarantee you the ability to accelerate forward and position yourself in the industry as the leading force becomes a lot easier when that happens. So with that said, I want to go through, and just to give you context on Zion so you understand, I'm a creator, I'm an entrepreneur, I love creating things, right? I love content creation, I love strategy, I love doing stuff like this. But this man is a genius when it comes to extracting. I mean, he's just straight up a genius. We have 28 or 29 team members at our business now, and he's running the show every single day, so I can do what I'm amazing at. And I just feel so grateful just to have him in the room with me and have him and have a mission and vision that we have that is just so important in the world that we live in, that we'll share with you a little bit later. So we want to go over the ROI method. Anything to?
Yeah, let's just do a quick high level on what the ROI method is.
Yeah. So if you don't know what the ROI method is, of course, you can go online and really dive deep into it. But overall, it's this. Think about this for just a minute. I won't even write on a board because sometimes it's distracting. Or maybe you can write on the board and I don't know what we want to do on that. But regardless, the ROI method comes down to the fact that if we can create a pond of people, a relevant pond of people that have the right avatar, that you have the right positioning to, that you show your unique process to, the way in which you're positioning a methodology like the ROI method. If you can have a relevant offer for that marketplace and you can have relevant messaging, we buy relevancy. We buy the element of being able to be relevant. And one of the biggest issues, of course, is sometimes you have a great offer, but you're not positioned the right way. Sometimes you have a great avatar, but you don't have the right offer. And relevancy, or the R in ROI, allows you to have that moment of, aha, that person is for me.
Yeah.
Then Omnipresence says, well, now you have a pond of people. It doesn't matter how big the pond is. It's actually the smaller the pond, the better. Now let's be the big fish and let's show up automatically every day to them. At the right time and at the right place, with the right frequency, the right timing, so that we can give those messages to that small pond and consistently show up, having this kind of almost effect from going, I don't know this person, to I know this person, to, oh my God, this is really great content, to, wow, this person's really relevant and I need to get on the phone with them so that I can go from here to there, which of course is what we want for your clients. And then the last piece, of course, coming in, when you're relevant, you have a small pond, you're continually showing up, you create points of intimacy, conversations, community, and connection, so that you're elevating people not into a sales conversation, but you're allowing people the opportunity to be able to work with you or work with your team. And that is the ROI method. That is, the last however many years I've been doing this, compressed into one. And today, of course, we're going to be going directly and deeply into omnipresence. And of course, a little bit on relevancy specifically, because omnipresence without relevancy, respect the guy immensely, but you do not want to be a mosquito everywhere and annoying. And I think, and unfortunately, I believe that Tai Lopez has been able to do that. But here's the interesting piece. He spent tens of millions of dollars targeting all the United States from 25 to 34-year-old males. You do not have that budget, more than likely, if you're here. And so what I believe is that if you have a relevant pond of people, you can greatly decrease how much it costs to get somebody on the phone, greatly decrease the cost of being able to buy almost influencer authority inside of your marketplace. And the other cool thing is that it compresses time so that you don't have to be in the industry for 5 or 10 or 15 years, because that's typically how omnipresence always been. You have to show up, speak stages, be on podcasts, be on absolutely everywhere. Well, we can actually manufacture that and do it automatically instead. I think that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today is actually quite exciting. We want to just kind of walk you through the relevancy funnel, right? This is the front end of our funnel. It's how people come into our world. It's how, probably most of you guys got into our world. And Scott's just going to quickly walk us through the flow of what that looks like. Really, where do we take people in? Where do they end up? And then where do they go next? So if you want to just quickly.
Yeah, so I really find it funny. I get people that keep trying to funnel hack us.
Yeah, don't funnel hack us. I mean, if you want to go ahead, just go put in your email. You'll see it. But we're going to walk you through this right now, right here.
It is.
People spend like lots of money.
People spend
just for the funnel, right?
Dumb amount of money on a funnel. It's 2018, guys. If the funnel is their problem, then we have more mindset problems we got to get through. Here's the thing. Funnels, at the end of the day, give you one opportunity to be able to get one message across to one specific person. People do webinar funnels, all these different types of things. Quite literally what we do is we have a landing page that has a lead magnet on it that essentially positions yourself as an expert by sharing your methodology. So In our case, we have two specific methodologies, one that's based on the 6 pillars of growing a 7-figure business, and then the second one, which is the ROI method. Now, one of them is specifically targeted for people getting to 7 figures. The other one's targeted a little bit more for people going multi-7 figures.
So the most important thing on the landing page is people are just raising their hands saying, hey, I have this problem. I am, part of the ideal person that you probably want to talk to, but I do have this pain and you're addressing it, and you're doing it with your signature methodology and really talking through your process on how you help alleviate their pain.
And this goes into your avatar and making sure you know your avatar. It goes into making sure that you have the right positioning, which is a combination of your unfair advantage, meaning what you're great at, combined with your unique process. And everyone has a unique process. It just has to be extracted out of you, right? And of course, we help a lot of people inside of the relevancy engine do that so that they have their own process. Then it's the messaging in which way you're going to attract that person. And the last part, of course, is the offer on the back end. Now, these three are the most important part for that specific landing page. It's the difference between a 10% conversion rate and a 60% conversion rate. Now, the important piece to remember, which is why I really don't understand, listen, if you're doing a webinar at the front of your funnel, you better have a product that's $25,000 because the cost of acquisition is just so expensive nowadays. And unless you have a huge marketing budget, it's going to be difficult. So what we say, we want a landing page that goes to a guide that's about less than 20 pages long, that shares with that perfect person exactly the process that you help people through, whether it be, in my case, 6 pillars or the ROI method.
People should be able to read it in about like 15, 20 minutes time, if they read it. Right?
So I'm talking one lead magnet. You don't have to go and create all kinds of guides. You don't have to go and create all kinds of videos. You don't have to go and create all this type of stuff. You don't have to create any crazy webinars. And then a thank you page in which you can choose to do, say, something like a Facebook group. And don't have to, but
it's a whole other topic for another.
That's a whole other topic. But right here, that's it. That is literally the marketing funnel. And then we get, of course, into omnipresence and then reinforced relevancy on the back end.
So this is the thing, right? So from the thank you page, we might often, at this stage, a lot of folks invite people to a call, right? They have an application here where they end up booking a call of some sort, start getting on the calendar. Now, what's the problem with that? Someone just came into the lead magnet where they just raised their hand and said, hey, I have this pain and problem. I have this issue. And then right away, we're trying to go into the highest degree of intimacy where you're trying to get them to talk to you right away. Now, this is just where, the landing page is really what kicks everything off. The lead magnet and the guide are what just kicks everything off. And this is when people actually enter the Omnipresence system that we've created. And it's when you start seeing, a lot of Scott's ads, our ads, just really following you, right? And really just making sure that we're speaking to you because we're trying to nurture that relationship, right? Because what happens is when you get on that call, there's a lot of problems, right? And I'm sure that you guys can relate to this. You are literally hopping on that call and you're fighting for your position, right? You are.
You have to get on the call. You have to explain the process. I mean, I love it. All these.
You're selling.
Yeah, I mean, you are selling. I mean, I don't sell on any calls that we have. I don't do really sales anymore. But any of my team, we don't sell. We just offer the opportunity. Hey, do you want this, right? Because all the selling's done. Think about this for a minute, and that really pains me. It hurts. I mean, it literally makes me wake up in the morning because this is a problem that has to be solved.
Yeah.
I see people post up on Facebook the news. Look at all the applications I'm bringing in. Look at my $40 applications. And meanwhile, I'm talking to somebody, a friend of mine that I've since helped. He was doing $300,000 a month, but his close rate was 5%.
Yeah.
So he had to develop this entire sales team. They had to go through the process. They had to go trust building, everything. When that person comes on the phone through the process of having omnipresence and relevancy beforehand, they understand your process. They understand what you eat. They understand your favorite color. They understand absolutely everything.
Yeah. Well, the issue is that, because the issue is that right now, in order for you to nurture and build that audience, you have, again, you're fighting for your position, right? A lot of you guys right now are going direct to the sales call. We don't actually even allow people to book that application. We actually space it out where you don't even have the option anymore, right? We bring you into our Facebook group to nurture that opportunity, right? Because guess what? This also ends up solving a lot of other problems, right? Like a lot of our friends, unfortunately, a lot of the entrepreneurs that we know, they're stuck in the launch hustle, right? They're stuck going from launch to launch, waiting for, hey, we're going to go through this extremely stressful time to really kick things off. And it just it just doesn't work anymore, right? And how many times have you heard this, right? Hey guys, my organic reach is dying off. I built this business on organic, right? Whether it's Google, your Facebook groups, whatever it is, your organic, right? Because like you guys have spent all this time climbing up the mountain. You're finally there. Now you're shouting as loud as you can, and no one's able to hear you, right? So now you're just stuck on this, content creation hamster wheel, right? We're in this position where we're consistently creating new content in the hopes that if we have an audience of 30,000 people, maybe 300 of them are going to see it every time we create a new piece of content. And that's exhausting.
It is.
Right? And Scott, you're the one that says it all the time. Like what happens when we get on a sales call, right? And, in the beginning when we were just kicking off this process, you would tell me, hey, you know what? People would say, hey, I've been following you for years, right? And then we say, well, give me a like or something.
Yeah, give me something. It happens all the time. Nobody actually is even sometimes engaging with what's there. And then the other problem is, I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait years to be able to help someone. You know what I mean? I come across entrepreneurs, you may be here right now. I need to help you because your ability, and you're doing this for your clients, your client's ability to go from where they are to where they need to be able to bring this world forward, it can't wait for them to be following you for a year or 2 years. It needs to happen faster, and what we do is we collapse time by using Omnipresence to be able to do that. That's the fun.
All right. So that's the Relevancy Funnel. As you can see, it's really just what kicks things off. It's not by any stretch of the imagination. It's just what starts it.
I really have a good time when I see funnel hackers come through the funnel because I'm sure they're looking for some complicated funnel. I did the complicated funnels. I mean, I've got automations going to yin yang, so is Steve, so is Zion. Keep it simple.
Yeah, it's simple, guys. We just want to get highly aware of who our avatar is, who's the customer that we truly want to serve, what is their pain and problem, what's keeping them awake at night today, and that's the entry point, right? All we want to do is make sure that we create a filter, right? And the lead magnet truly just serves as a filter to say, hey, we're going to raise our hand, we're going to raise our hand and say, hey, I want to be a part of this journey now, right? And now Omnipresence is what helps you create that journey.
That is the reason, of course, why this is so important. So essentially, just to go into, we want to go into Omnipresence?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. So overall, what you want to look at as Omnipresence is, if you suck, don't use Omnipresence. Like, just get off this webinar, right? If your product sucks, any of that, just stop. You're right. Omnipresence is like money. Something I've realized about money is an amplifier. If you're a bad person before, you're going to be more of a bad person. If you're a giving and generous person, you'll be more of a generous and giving person. And Omnipresence is essentially an amplifier, a microphone. It allows you to take the relevant people that are relevant to you, that need to be following you, that need to be customers of yours. It fundamentally ensures that that person sees your message, that person continually sees you every single day, and the content that you have, and we'll get into content blocks in a minute of what that means, that they see the right pieces of information to be able to click the little switches that are going off and on in their head, inside of that customer's head. Now, typically that might take a year to happen, just seeing organically this post and that post or whatever it would be. But what would happen if we can actually systematically bring them through and ensure that they see the right pieces of information so that they can actually start thinking about what's going on and actually kind of reflecting upon themselves and who they actually are. Now, here's the other interesting thing. I don't know about you, but having to get up every single day and post it in a Facebook group or Instagram or Facebook or emails or whatever consistently with no ability to have something that's automatic, it is absolutely exhausting. So Omnipresence literally allows you to show up every single day automatically. So if you have a sick day, if you want to go away, I mean, I take off typically anywhere from 4 to 6 days on a weekend every single month. If I don't want to create information, if I don't want to create content, I don't need to create content. And specifically at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you're to, you need the ability to show up even when you don't yourself have the ability to show up. You have a family, you have the things that you need to do. You don't want to be having to wake up and do 3 hours of content creation every day. Which, unfortunately, with organic, that is the only way you can do it. The only way you can do it. So, perfect example of this. And I'm just so proud of her. I actually spent time with her in person. Her name's Kristen Allen, if you want to search her on Google. And she's such an amazing, amazing lady.
Amazing entrepreneur.
Just amazing entrepreneur. Yeah, I mean, just fascinating. So she came to me in 2016, and she was doing $10,000 a month. We helped her go from $10,000 a month to doing $70,000 a month in less than 60 days. By, I think it was May or June of last year, she was doing $250,000 a month. And then she got her business structured. Of course, when you go from there to there, you have a ton of operational things that you need to take care of. But what she does, she helps people transition from being in corporate females, allowing them to actually become entrepreneurs. So she has a higher touch program. I think it's an $8,000 and $25,000 program. And we helped her, evolve her business model. We helped her evolve all of these different types of things. And now we've been helping her with Omnipresence. And oh my God, it's like watching, it's like being on a rocket ship with her and just going up.
So when Kristen first came to us, she's been in Project Nuclear for about a month now, right? So the biggest issue that she faced was that she was running a webinar funnel, right? Doing an amazing job getting the webinar opt-ins. I think she has something like $2 leads to the lead magnet coming in. So everything on the front end was definitely working, right? The issue is people were hopping on the call and she was having to consistently re-educate them. And she said, you know what? I'm exhausted, right? I am doing sales calls every single day. And I feel that I have to teach people who I am. I have to, again, fight for my position. I have to show people my worth, show people my value, right? And she had to go out and, the first decision that came to mind was, I'm booking so many applications, which is amazing, but now I feel like I have to go and build out this whole sales team, right? Yeah. So, what we did was we helped her just close it off, right? We put in the Omnipresence stack and, we just checked Slack this morning and she just booked her, the next like 13 calls for the week.
But the difference was these were all people that are already being able to, because of course Omnipresence works very, very quickly once once somebody's seeing you every single day, and you're actually relevant to them. And the amazing thing in her case, I remember, she was having a hard problem with show up rates. She was having a problem with being able to get somebody on the phone and then having to resell herself to them.
Absolutely.
And now, of course, that is the issue. If you're doing your call too early, don't do that.
Yep, she completely shut off the opportunity you can't even see the opportunity until you're in her Omnipresence stack for at least 10 days, right? Now, some of you might be thinking, hey, will this really work for me, right? And I'll give you a perfect example of one of our Project Nuclear members, Ryan. He's 24 years old, right? He's a real estate investor. He's, I think this year he's closed off some like $2 million worth of real estate, so he's a phenom. And he created a solution for himself. He created a call center specifically for real estate investors, right? So what they do is, as soon as you send out outbound mail, someone has to come in. You as an investor, you don't want to be picking up the phone, so he does it for you. So he's one of the only call centers in the country for real estate investors. And he came to us and said, we really think we might be the only guys that you're going to work with where this isn't going to work for us, right? And they said, hey, look, our 90-day goal is just to make back our investment because we know what we're on track to do this year, right? We know what we're on track to do this year. If we could just, hit our goal in 90 days, make back our investment, right? It's almost, it's a healthy, it's a solid investment. If we make it back in 90 days, almost 100K, right? So then we'll be fine, right? We check in with them. They just came to our mastermind a couple weeks ago.
30 days.
Yeah.
30 days.
Inside of the first month, right? He's telling me, hey, I remember it's like I was looking at my post and I realized that some of my investor friends were liking them, so apparently we're hitting the right audience, right? And what he told me was they actually got 80% of their new business. That's over $90,000 of annualized contracts in 1 month.
126% growth
in 1 month.
And it's actually reminded me of Pat Brewer, which went from 20, 30,000 a month in October. October he was at 20, 30,000 a month, and he was at 100K in December, has not gone back under the 6-figure monthly mark. And he's getting speaking gigs, he's getting huge deals. Because remember, Omnipresence and what we do, it allows you to create the currency of money, the currency, of course, relationships, and the currency of audience. So that, of course, goes into the fact that Omnipresence, there's a huge difference between sort of omnipresence, attention, and intention. It's really easy for me to get 3 seconds of your attention. It's really difficult for me to get you here with the intention of perhaps being able to implement this inside of your business. Now, in a few minutes, once we go through all this stuff, we're going to be talking about a really, really cool way. It's called ROI, the ROI Accelerator, something we've never done before, which is going to allow us to bring Omnipresence to perhaps you if you don't want us to bring you into our growth accelerator that's only for people that are at 7 figures, like Carl Porter, like Kristen Allen that I just talked about a minute ago. So attention versus intention. Attention quite literally is you have 3 seconds. You have, the 3 seconds of attention. And the difference is that it's really easy to just simply buy attention. But when you go to intention, it's a lot more difficult to be able to get someone to view a video for 30 seconds or to be able to consume your content. If someone's not consuming the content, if you're omnipresent to that people that are not relevant, all you are getting is attention and you actually become annoying. The difference is, attention is the O in ROI, but if you have the relevancy, omnipresence, and intimacy, it creates the intention. And the intention is what actually drives the growth of your business.
Yeah, so I'll give you guys a perfect example, right? So if you guys have been following for quite some time, you know that omnipresence is really, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the word retargeting, right? So retargeting, simply put, is you go on a site and all of a sudden you have ads just following around the internet. And how many times are you just like, man, like none of this stuff is actually relevant to me. None of this stuff actually matters to me, right? That is when you have actually got in a position where you have someone's attention. And what we want to make sure is that we're really, again, omnipresence becomes when you're stepping up to the microphone, right? And the microphone and the audience, the world is your audience, right? And what do you want to be able to say to them that's truly going to land with them, to truly land with your ideal customer so that you're as relevant as possible, right? And this is why relevancy is such an important topic, right? It's like omnipresence is what's sexy, right? It's the distribution, right? But the beauty of the ROI method is that it's, what we're really doing here is intersecting and finding the intersection between content creation and content strategy meets distribution.
Because quite literally, I guarantee you, the person who can mediate attention the best wins. 100% of the time, I don't care who you are, what idea you have. Mm-hmm. If you or your competitor, whoever can mediate the attention the best is going to be the one who actually wins. And that's, of course, the entire idea of omnipresence is being able to mediate attention and bring it towards intention.
Absolutely. So when you start to look at, we start to look at relevancy, right? Scott went over this a little bit briefly before. What are the different aspects that really make somebody relevant, right? So it's going to be your messaging. It all starts with your avatar. It's who's the person that you truly want to serve, right? It's going to be the messaging. It's going to be the positioning. And of course, we have, what the actual relevant offer is to help you be in the most positioned spot, right? So again, before you become omnipresent, we have to get you ready to become omnipresent because omnipresence is the amplifier, right? So if you are stuck in a situation right now where you're completely under leverage, right? What I mean by under leverage is that you're currently in a situation where, you are doing the one-on-ones, right? Maybe you have a program, right? Maybe you have a program, but you're doing the one-on-ones because you know that you need to bring the money through the door. And because, hey, you're good at what you do, the program works. It's positioning to a point where you can command a little bit of a higher dollar amount for that one-on-one. And now you're resorting to now giving up your time to the one-on-one and falling into the trap of saying, hey, you know what? I need this money to pay my team, right? I need this money to make it past this month. And I need to do it in a way where, hey, I will gladly do as many one-on-ones as it takes for me to get there.
And then this is where VIP days come from, and this is where one-on-ones come from, and this is where all these comes from. And our intention is not to shame that. Our intention is to be able to realize that that was then and this is now. And if you want to build a real business, the profit and loss statement should not have your one-on-ones on it, should not have your VIP days. You should live and die by the fact that if you do not have a leverage model, wow, that was actually amazing. If you do not have a leverage model, then you don't have a business. And if you don't have a business, you cannot walk away for 30 days. And people can say about vacation, a lot of things can happen in life. And I want you to be able to have a true business so that you can hit abundance, so that you can hit freedom, so that you can really, truly live out the reason you're here.
Yeah, so one of the biggest changes that we made in our company was that we wanted to transition from purely selling content, purely selling information, right? We really want to be a company that led with the outcome, with the opportunity for true transformation that we bring to our members, right? And the only way that we're going to do that is by knowing, hey, how do we leverage Scott, right? Because at first when everyone's coming to Relevancy Engine, they're just like, Scott, I want to talk to you, right? I want to work with you. I want to learn from you. You're obviously one of the best in the industry, which, by the way, he is, right? But there's only so much of Scott to go around.
And number two, I'm actually an incredibly better creator than mentor or coach or, these different types of things. A lot of the time, you're great at what you do, but you're not the greatest technician at being able to apply it for your clients or customers.
Right, because coaching's a skill.
Yeah, and you're actually stuck. I mean, I got to be honest, ever since and I have no one-on-ones, I don't work with anybody in a one-on-one capacity. Ever since I've done that, everybody gets results faster because guess what? I'm the bottleneck. That's not my thing. And more than likely as an entrepreneur creator, it's not your thing either.
So we had a conversation with an entrepreneur yesterday who just joined Project Nuclear, and I asked him a question, right? Because he was still playing the one-on-one. He did have a leverage group program. We're still getting on the one-on-ones, and I asked him, why do you do what you do, right? And for us, like we truly care about those that we work with. We want to make sure that people have really great intentions of how they want to serve the people that they want to serve. And he said, it's because it fulfills me, right? I said, great. Right, you're exactly the type of person that we want to work with because you actually care. I could tell that you have heart. I could tell that you actually care about the outcome of the people that you want to work with. But you know what the issue? The issue is that you are currently limiting your capacity to be able to serve more and more people for you to feel a larger sense of fulfillment. And the reason is because you are only able to grow by a unit of 1 by 1. You're only able to serve as many people as you can get on the phone with. And if you really max out your calendar, work with as many people as you want, you know that you're going to get to 40 to 50 people on your calendar, which is absolutely exhausting, right? So what I told them was, hey, I would love the opportunity to work with you to create a program where you're only more leveraged and not so that you can make more money, right? And this is the biggest issue that we come across when people are like, hey, I want to be more leveraged so I can make more money, so I can bring more people through the door. Now, the issue with that is it's all a conversation about self-centeredness. It's all about what is it that you're going to get out of it? How can you have a higher bottom line? How can you increase net profit? And as a business, I'm not saying that all these things aren't important because they are, right? But what it comes down to is, can you truly leverage yourself in a way where you're able to extract your genius, right? You're able to extract what is it about you that actually creates the result for the people, because quite frankly, I don't want to kill your ego here, right? But it's not you, right? It's not necessarily Scott. It's what Scott created, right? It's what we were able to extract from Scott. It's what Scott has done really well, quite naturally. We said, hey, you know what? There's all these things that you're doing really, really well. There's something here, but we are doing a disservice to everyone out there in the world if we don't bring this out of you and put it in a way that's a repeatable, duplicatable process. And that's why your positioning with your signature methodology ends up being such a powerful tool, right? Because the ROI method, it creates an opportunity for us to say, hey, you know what? We're not the only ones that can do this, right? We have created a methodology which is repeatable, duplicatable, it's named. We have the steps, we have the process. We have something that you can actually come and follow and do with our team. Right? Because at this point, we have so many specialized team members that we have on our team that they are not only better at all the individual parts,
way better,
right? We're just there for the ride, right? We're there for support. We are their cheerleaders because we know they're going to do a better job. But when you name your method, it creates a greater positioning for you. When you have the offer, it creates a better positioning for you so that you can actually step into this new role and have, and be the most relevant person that you can actually be. Right, I want to tell you guys a perfect story. This is actually one of our Relevancy Engine members that I'm working with right now. His name is Rob Stewart, right? So funny story, by the time I got on my first call with Rob, he had actually already implemented the whole funnel. He's already implemented his lead magnet. Everything was already done. His Omnipresence was firing. But he said, hey, Zion, I have all this going, but it's not working, right? And we said, okay, well, let's look, right? And technically, everything was in place. Everything was already there. So we said, okay, well, what's the issue? So I dug a little deeper, and Rob sells lead. Rob helps people grow their businesses by helping them create lead gen funnels, right? We have 10 other folks like Rob, and every one of them have a very, very similar promise, right? So then I told Rob, what do you think is the biggest difference between you and anybody else that we're bringing through our programs? It's why we can serve so many different people, because at the end of the day, the biggest difference between you and anybody else in that program is you, right? I asked Rob, hey Rob, what were you doing before you did all this stuff, right? Like I remember getting off my first call with Scott, and I called up Scott, I was like, dude, did you know that Rob was a fighter pilot? And I was like, how cool is that, right? Like he was a fighter pilot in the Royal Army, right? And then he ended up actually training other fighter pilots, right? I was like, hey, I don't know about you, but I don't know that many other fighter pilots that are trying to teach people how to, grow their business online. And there was a story there, right? And, Scott, why don't you just, there was a story, before we go into that, there was a story there. There was something that made Rob who he was, and it was him just sharing parts of himself. It's his experiences. It's who he already was. But that was the difference, right? The biggest difference between you and anybody else in your market, selling whatever it is that you're selling, serving however you want to show up to serve, is you. And once we started extracting those stories out of Rob, it just made the difference, right? And we're going to go into that in just a moment, but I think I want to just quickly share your story of Jess.
Jess is just this amazing, she was in real estate. She grew a multi-seven-figure business. It wasn't working out for her. She came across to me, very great here. She came across to me, it was on a phone call. Within 3 minutes, she agreed to come and actually, because I was just like, whoa, this is completely like, you are a gold mine of what you're going to be able to do. So she flew here to Venice. And I don't spend time with very many people by any stretch of imagination, unless I think there's going to be a ridiculous multi-seven-figure return on it. And she was attracted to my story of me blowing up my business, because that's what she did, right? That's what she did. She had this amazing business, but she was working 80 hours a week. She didn't want to do this, all these different types of things. And so one of the biggest pieces was the fact that, beforehand, in her past, she's been in an abusive relationship. She's been in, a lot of just really difficult times. And ended up getting a feature for her, a core article on entrepreneur as a profile, which actually went into all of this. And when we started being able to utilize her personal story, and we being able to utilize the fact that she resonates with entrepreneurs and real estate, specifically real estate agents that are doing multi-six figures, that are women that want to be able to scale up and want to be able to actually truly, not just completely ruin their lives. That's when sort of all the pieces really sort of start coming together. And I mean, she's just crushed it, literally created a six-figure plus business. Literally overnight.
45 days. So, and I want to just touch on something, right? Because it's not every single day that someone is willing to share that they blew up their business, right?
No, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think that's something that I remember the very first time that I shared with, I mean, I barely had an audience at the time, but everything started working for me when I said, hey, listen, I'm hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. This was about 4 years ago. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. And I started to be vulnerable and authentic. And I think that when you're vulnerable and authentic and you say exactly who you are and what you have and what the situation is, number one, the market's starved of that. Number two, people can be very specifically, yes, that resonates with me, or no, it doesn't. And it's binary. It's 1 or 0.
Right. So how do you do this, right? So we said that the ROI method is where content meets distribution. Right, the content strategy, we have something called, so we have essentially codified, we've essentially coded and come up with a system for, hey, there's 13 different blocks of content, and these are the different types of content that are going to come in, and each one of these are going to speak to your ideal customer in a very different way. They're going to explore a level of depth of who you are and bring forth a little bit of who you are that you're probably not doing right now. Because when we think about content, we think about content as this whole big universe, but there's 13 different blocks. We don't have time to go over all 13 right now, but we will go over 3, right? So one of the things that Scott just mentioned when he shared, when Scott shares, you guys already know, Scott shares with a lot of heart. He shares with a lot of vulnerability, and he shares his story, right? So the first block that we're going to go over today is personal story. The second one are your beliefs.
Which, by the way, most people are afraid to share because they're afraid of the fact that they will repel. But you got to remember, whatever repels in a very great way magnetizes and attracts.
So here's the thing. When we look at the 13 blocks of content, when we look at the personal story, right, this is what was unique about Rob, right? Rob had such an amazing story of how he was this fighter pilot that ended up becoming a civilian, less than minimum wage when he came out, had to completely learn how to become a civilian, and then had to learn, he went to real estate, then eventually learned internet marketing, and he's now able to do what he does and serve the way he does. Right? That story resonates with people because it's your story, it's his story of all the struggles and challenges that he had to come over, right? And as entrepreneurs, I truly believe that we never receive any hardship that we are not ready for, right? Some of you guys on this call, you guys are probably going through things right now that are quite painful. You're going through a lot of struggle right now. As entrepreneurs, I know this to be true, right? There's different levels of stress, different things that you're going through, but when you can share vulnerably, it's when it invites the opportunity for you to show up as your most authentic self and for you to open up a level of connection, a level of intimacy, to invite people into your world, into your reality, to get what it is that you're doing, for you to put your stake in the ground, for you to share your beliefs, like Scott said, and for you to actually have the opportunity to say, hey, take me as I am. Take me as I am. I'm showing up as I am. This is who I am. This is the way that I want to show up. These are the things I believe in. Take it or leave it.
And I truly believe that this is the reason why Kristen was able to blow up. This is the reason why Jess is in the middle of like a rocket ship and was able to create literally a 6-figure plus business, which will be $1 million business, actually $1 million run rate business already.
In enrollments yesterday.
Yeah, so in less than 60 days. And I know for me, I guarantee you, the moment I remember the live stream in which I said, I'm blowing my business up, by far the most viewed live stream I've ever done. It created the most opportunities of my entire life. Anytime that I share on Facebook, anytime that I share with some hidden message inside, it does nothing. But when I actually show up and say my actual story, the fact that I blew up, my business, the fact of the different things that have happened in my life, it magnetizes and it attracts just amazing people that I actually want to work with.
Yeah, you have to put your stake in the ground, right? Because the difference between you and anyone else in the market is you. Right? And as entrepreneurs, there's so many times, how many times have you heard this, Scott? I started my business so that once I'm done with this, I can eventually go do this other thing, right? I started my business so that one day I can grow up to be who I want to be, right? And, I invite you, right? I invite you to really look at and share, do this exercise, right? Do this exercise of just writing out all the times where you hit rock bottom, all the times where you thought you were never going to make it past that situation, that stage. We've had plenty of them, right? All the times where you've had your highs, and just be there, right? Take your mindset of who you are today. Take your mindset of who you are as a person, the loving, kind, compassionate person you are, and just be with yourself in the past and pull those forward, because I'm sure there's a lot of things that you've buried, right? There's a lot of things that you buried because they're so painful, because they're so traumatizing, but guess what? You went through them because you were ready to receive them, and now you've gotten a gift and the lens to see when other people are in that situation. And when you're able to share your personal story, all of these things are what crafted your beliefs. And they're what have actually completely uniquely shaped your approach and how you do things, which is what brings us back into the unique methodology. And it's going to give people an opportunity to actually get to know you, right? So by the time that they're on the phone, and if you're the one doing the sales calls, they say, hey, you know what? That story that you shared about yourself when you were in debt, like, I'm there, right? I'm there right now.
Well, I mean, one of the things, and I'll go into why it's so important, methods, the last 6 months have been a very transformational time for me. I no longer have a gun to my head about debt. I'm doing things such as therapy. And I remember at a mastermind that I was holding just a couple of weeks ago, I started off with the fact that I've been going through this. I mean, I quite literally and candidly can say that I've probably cried at least 10 to 15 hours every single week since the beginning of this year, decompressing and allowing things to come out of me that I suppressed because, of course, I was in the hustle and the grind. And I've been using part of this in the personal story and beliefs, and this entirely new group of customers and clients that I just so love are attracted by that. Now, I want to just go over the method just for a quick second in terms of these blocks of content. What you must realize, and why one of the most important pieces around methodology is so important, is that the logical brain needs to make up a choice if it's going to follow something or to continue to get attention. So the logical mind must, with inside of a methodology, and why a methodology, we have sort of time frameworks that we work with inside of Omnipresence. And one of the most important pieces is for a person to understand your methodology, because a person must understand the methodology and say yes or no to the methodology before they're willing to say yes and no to the belief system and personal story that you are then being able to introduce to them, to allow for that magnetization that allows for someone to say, yes, I want to be on a phone call. Yes, I want to trust this person, know this person, and have this person be someone that I look up to.
Yeah, and just to be super clear, the lead magnet that we have, the guide that we have is our method. It is our process on how we solve the different pains and problems. And before we even try to become omnipresent, this is the formula here on the board for you to become relevant first, right? A lot of people try to become omnipresent before they're actually relevant. And what happens? You're someone seeking attention. You're the person screaming from the mountaintop, and no one's listening because you're not reaching anyone at a deeper level than just a surface level of, hey, I can sell you some shit that you might want to buy, right? And we all know that doesn't work. Right, and when in true omnipresence, you know, the formula for omnipresence,
and I'll just also say, who has not seen it? And again, it's not. I very much respect what he's been able to do in the time, not necessarily all the tactics and strategies that he has necessarily deployed. But when is the last time you actually remember what Tai Lopez's ad was about? You remember that he was there, but he has omnipresence without relevancy, which makes somebody, and I don't want this to be you, a mosquito everywhere and annoying.
Yep. So omnipresence is the intersection by choosing the right platform, based on the platform, gain the right timing and frequency, so that when you have the right set of content blocks, you are showing up to people at the right time, in the right place, exactly when they need it, right? And, you know, simply put, you know, like let's use Facebook as a perfect example. If we're looking at the lead magnet, we're not actually showing people the call to action for the application page until 10 days later. Right, because through that 10-day period, we are taking people through a journey. We're taking them through the path of the different types of content blocks that you can have to expose and share different parts of who you are and to share the self of who you are.
Basically, we have the framework of, we have very specific of which blocks need to happen at which specific time, because as I said beforehand, certain switches had to go off, because remember, we are reverse engineering the simple epitome of marketing, which is, oh my God, this was meant to be. I don't care what it costs. I see the road. I see the road ahead. I see the magic elixir, and that is what you're creating. And that's what we're reverse engineering of what may take 2 years and reverse engineering it so it happens in less than 120 days. And of course, that's where it comes into the fact that we need to look at things such as what people engage with, how they engage, how we want them to see things so that we're not annoying. Show too much at the beginning and you're going to be annoying. Ensure that the timing of the content blocks is correct, because if not, you become annoying instead of actually relevant.
Absolutely. So when we look at, you know, and if there's anything that you guys take away from this, it's, you know, first off, we wanted to actually go through and do this whole walkthrough on Omnipresence today and give you guys, hey, this is how you do and set up the Facebook ads. But quite frankly,
you'd fail.
Yeah, we would put you in such a terrible position where we wouldn't actually feel good about it, right? Because you know, we have this training, we put it forth in front of our Relevancy Engine members or Project Nuclear members, 6 and 7, multiple 7-figure business owners.
Even 8-figure.
Yeah.
Just to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Up to 8-figure business owners, and guess what? They're you know, and they just look at it and say, okay, well, how do we implement, right? So what we wanted to really take away, what I really want you guys to take away here is what it means to be truly relevant to your actual customer and the people that you actually want to serve. Because at the end of the day, what Rob was able to do, what Jess was able to do, you know, we're working with folks like, you know, Tucker Max now. We're working with folks like Gerard Adams, you know, who just sold Elite Daily.
Todd Herman from the
Todd Herman. You know, all these folks are approaching us because they're saying, hey, you know what? There's a different way to do it.
We have an audience we don't want to launch, and we want it to be relevant 365 days of the year, not just when we launch, not when just we do this. You know, I was having a conversation with Gerard yesterday, and he's like, Scott, I have this audience of hundreds of thousands of people. I'm so excited that I'm actually going to be able to, and actually am being able to be in front of them with a relevant message so that it can fuel what he's fueling and what he's really wanting to get there as a message.
So relevancy is where you have to start. Right? The first thing you have to do is get back and find your story. And as an entrepreneur, the question I want to really ask you today is, what is the story that you're not sharing? right? There's something that really keeps you up at night because there's something that you want to say to the world, where you want to step up to the microphone. The world is there ready to listen, and you are not telling the story because you're not opening your mouth because you're too scared to share what it is that you're sharing. And I would really want to challenge you today to say, hey, whatever that is, you have to remember that whatever you bring forth will save you, and whatever you do not bring forth will destroy you. You have a light, you have a gift, you have something, you have a piece of you, you have your story, you have who you are as an entrepreneur that's waiting to come out. And that is what it truly means to be relevant, for you to really step up, be who you're always meant to be, not waiting until another business comes off, until you're done with this business, ready to move on to the next thing, right? We want to put you in a position where you today can show up as you are, and we want to help you actually do that, right? We want to help you pull this story out of you. We know that you have something that you are waiting to get outside of you, and that there's nothing else. We really want to put you in a position where this story comes out, where your message comes out, where you know that you have people out there in the world waiting every single day, looking at their time, going through whatever pain and struggle that they are, waking up and thinking and asking God, whoever it might be, for, hey, is there another way, right? And you know that you have that solution. And as entrepreneurs, as a person that is capable, as someone that has the capacity, as someone that has the ability, it is absolutely up to you to be able to really get that message up there, to find the courage, dig deep, be who you are always meant to be, and we want to help you on that path. Right, so as Scott said earlier today, we are going to be opening up a brand new program that we have because people kept asking us, hey, is there any way I could just implement Omnipresence? Right? Is there any way that I could just implement the ROI method? And we say, hey, you know what, not yet, right? But today, we want to open up our beta program and give the opportunity to actually work with you guys one-on-one, to work with our team. We have people specialized in advertising, people specialized on positioning, copywriting. We can help you with the tech, get you set up. If you don't have a funnel, don't worry about it. If you don't have the front end stuff, you don't know how to put your messaging, you don't know how to get that story out there, don't worry about any of that. Right? We want to support you and we want to join you on your journey because we want to remind you that you are not alone in this, but we care so much about who we align with because we're here to serve you at the end of the day. And we want to make sure that, hey, we get the best people into the new program, right, which is the ROI Accelerator, right? And Joanna's going to be putting an application link, right? Again, this application just to make sure we're a good fit for each other. We don't want to waste your time. We want to make sure that this truly, truly serves you. And we want to give you guys the opportunity to implement this side by side so that you can actually get your story and get your message out there in the world so that you can just give what you have always meant to give, right? Because it is immoral and it is unethical if you are someone that has something, a gift, that you are ready to bring forth to the world and someone out there is waiting for it and you're still not in a position where you're stepping up to the bat and finding the courage to actually meet them where they are, right? And that is relevancy. Right? That is you being and showing up as your truest authentic self, and is when you actually find the freedom to be who you want to be when you want to be that person.
All I can say is preach, brother. So I'm so excited. Of course, you can see why he's the CEO. Just amazing energy and amazing. Here's a really so when I brought the ROI method to the marketplace, when I brought it to you guys, I had no idea what I was going to create. But what we found is that there was people that needed help on a leveraged high ticket offer. There's people that needed help being able to scale multi-seven-figure businesses. But there was an entirely other group of people that just wanted to they were in a great place, but they wanted to have more qualified, really amazing people that they wanted to work with. The perfect clients, paying the perfect price, the perfect connection. And so ROIA is our beta program. We're going to be taking somewhere between 10 to 12 people, which is a very small group of people. And we're going to be implementing Omnipresence as the first 90 days. And meaning that there's going to be a lot more in there besides just Omnipresence. But our job is to make sure that you're omnipresent and relevant so that then, of course, we can expand and give you the R, the O, and the actual I. So that link should be there. I will say that we're going to pick the best fit of the 10 to 12 people that apply. Obviously, we're not going to have any problem filling those 10 to 12 spots. And go ahead.
Yeah, so it matters a lot to us to make sure that, whatever it is that we work on, as we said, omnipresence is an amplifier, right? So to that extent, we want to make sure that as a company, we feel good and aligned within our own values. One of our values is actually to be the master. And what that means is that you are someone that actually is continuing to pursue your craft. And it's, good or bad, you know that this is what you were born to do, right? And you know that, hey, you are an expert. You actually get your clients real results. You have changed people's lives. That is the exact type of person we want to work for, right? And the biggest difference, because I see a few questions here, what's the difference between Relevancy Engine and ROI? So Relevancy Engine is our program if you want help crafting that leveraged high ticket offer. This is something $3,000 to $5,000 or more, where you can take yourself out of the business, take yourself out of delivery, and start to build a team around you. Right? We're also going to help you implement a lot of the funnel, the Omnipresence stack. On top of that, ROIA is saying, hey, you know what, guys? I already have something that I sell. I have results. I already know people want this. I just want to be omnipresent to my audience. I want to be even more relevant. And quite frankly, if you guys heard, just everything that we've been saying, it's like, hey, the time is now and I'm ready, right? I am ready to step up and say, hey, what I have is worth it, right? And what I'm telling you right now is what you do is worth it for you to take a chance on yourself, to stop forsaking yourself, for you to actually step up and make sure that you're delivering your gifts to the people that really do deserve them because they're waiting for you. So ROI Accelerator is going to be our premier growth group, right? We're going to go over everything in terms of implementing all the different aspects. We're going to go into how you can become omnipresent, omni-channel, right? There's too many folks out there right now. If Facebook goes down, you're going to have a bad day, right? Your week, your business is done, right? Overnight, because your Facebook account got banned, and you know how fickle that is. We're going to help you get on AdWords. We're going to help you get on YouTube. We're going to help you get on GDN. We're going to look at other ways to really expand the growth opportunities there. We're going to help you, hey, when the opportunity presents itself, when you're actually ready to get to that point and open up more channels, we want to help you get more PR. We want to help you with your positioning in the marketplace. We want to help you guide decisions on, hey, how do I find my best JV relationships, my strategic partners, right? So ROI Accelerator is exactly what it sounds like. It is the implementation of the ROI method in the most accelerated form as possible so that you can be omnipresent in as many channels as you can and work side by side with your team in order to do so.
So go ahead, and there's the application there. It's for the ROI method. It doesn't matter. Basically what's going to happen is you're going to submit that. We're going to let you know. We're going to get on the phone with you fairly quickly and, of course, let you know what we believe would work the best. So we may get on the phone. Relevancy Engine may be the best, or ROIA may be the best in terms of actually helping you.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that we're making the best recommendation for you guys. We don't want to put you in a position. We don't want to put you in a position that doesn't serve you or us. Right? Like what we get out of this is that we get to work with entrepreneurs that we deeply care about, and we deeply care about your work getting out into the world. Right? One of our friends, mutual friends, Alex Moscow, after he said this to me, it really stuck with me, right? Which is, you might be the last opportunity for this person to get their mission out into the world. Right? And that really resonated with me quite deeply, because when Scott and I aligned in our partnership to really step forth and move forward on this mission, we asked ourselves a question of, hey, you know what? Well, it's not really the question. It's more of the understanding that one of our core beliefs, which is that entrepreneurs are the people that are going to fundamentally change the world. And if that's the case, then who are the people that are working on solving the problems of the entrepreneur? And that is what we made our mission, right? We see a world where we never have to solve the same problem twice, so we can continue to be in a position where we're tackling some of the largest challenges that we face as humanity. But guess what? Entrepreneurs are losing sleep at night. They are going in debt. They're going bankrupt. They're struggling. And it's because the things that have been done over and over again to go from 6 to 7 to sustain 7 figures, to go from 7 to 8 figures, hasn't been passed down in a nice packaged way, so that we can actually deliver this in the form of mentorship, right? And completely change the way that we chose to do business today, right? Because we actually care about who we work with. And we know that we chose the mission of working with the entrepreneur because we want to accelerate the growth of 1 million businesses past 7 figures. If you're at 7 figures, we want to sustain that 7 figures so that we have the opportunity to add $1 trillion to our global economy. Simply put, our mission statement is 1MT. It's 1 million businesses for $1 trillion impact, and we want you to join us. We want you to be one of those folks and give us the privilege, quite honestly. Like, give us the privilege, give us the absolute honor of being able to serve you, because you as the entrepreneur is the person that we want to work with, right? Whether it is, even if you don't feel like you fit into any one of these programs, I just want you to know that this journey does not have to be the way that it is, and you don't have to do it by yourself. And if you take anything else from this, just remember that you have a group of entrepreneurs here in our community that absolutely love you, and you are not alone. And we just want the opportunity to work with you. So again, we have this application. We want to get to know you a little bit more. We want to have a conversation with you. There's well over 800 people that have registered for this webinar. So, both Scott and myself, we're going to start hopping on the phones with you guys. We want to have a conversation, see where you're at, no judgment, no matter where you are. Give us the shit. Tell us how real it is. We're not going to be able to help you unless we know exactly where you're at in your business. And once we learn, we want to see, hey, which one of our programs that we've crafted here with our team of 30 plus mentors and growing is going to be the best fit for you, right? So we want to make sure that there is an opportunity where you have a chance to talk to someone on our team, because we truly do believe that, hey, if you have a mission that you care to get out into the world and you're absolutely tired of being the person that wakes up day after day after day and saying, hey, you know what, one day I'm going to be able to do this. One day I'm going to be able to tell my story. And one day I'm going to be able to stand up to the microphone and be able to share what I want to share. And we do not want to wait. I don't want to have this conversation with you. I don't want to be putting on this webinar a year from now, and you're hearing the words and saying, oh man, if only, right? I don't even care if you're not ready to move forward. That's okay. Let us know we just want to know that you're on our radar. We want to just put our arms out there, and we just want to know what is going on in your reality, what is going on in your world, even if you just want someone to talk to.
Whew. I just, oh, this is a beautiful mission I'm on, and we're on, and I have seen firsthand how your life can change so radically. I've seen firsthand what happens when you get out of the grind and you get out of the hustle and you get into actually being able to get inside of your mind. I've seen what has happened when you can actually think and do and live the way that we were meant to live, because we have an incredible opportunity. I don't think that there's corporations that are going to save this planet. I don't think the government is going to save this planet. The only people that can save this planet are people like you. And whatever it is, there's some deep down, whether it's some childhood trauma, whether it's something that someone did to you, whether it's just something that you're passionate about. There's something that's deep down that you may not even know that's there that you want to change in this world. But the problem is that you're too stuck in the day-to-day. And your mission on earth only truly gets accepted by you when you no longer have to wake up and feel the sweat in the morning and check your bank account twice, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. It happens when you can truly actually stand up with the microphone and say, this is my mission. Are you with me? And for me, and for Zion, and for our team of mentors, of amazing entrepreneurs that have also grown 6 and 7 and 8-figure businesses. People that have been there and done that literally are like, this is why we are here. I mean, if I look at the reason why I am on planet Earth, it is to be able to help us evolve the human species. Now, that's going to mean a lot of different things in my lifetime. And I guarantee you there's something deep down that perhaps you may suppress or perhaps you know. And the last thing I want is the fact that you spend so much time trying to get away from the obstacles or the challenges so that it never actually happens and never actually comes to fruition. I've been very fortunate to have some amazing mentors and amazing people around me. Amazing people like Zion and Steve and Cameron and countless others on my team that are making this a reality. And last year when I blew up my business, one of the biggest problems was I didn't feel like I was actually impacting the world. I feel like I was getting on, quite literally, it's the reason why I've stopped having webinars, because all I did, I felt like I was getting on webinars and selling $997 information products that may or may not actually do anything. But the beautiful thing is, the people we work with, the people that we have that implement this, their life is fundamentally changed. And the thing that keeps me up every single night is that there's entrepreneurs that aren't using this because they think they're busy or they think it won't work or they don't trust themselves or they have imposter syndrome or quite literally, you're okay just putting 10% out to the world until now. And I think that you have inside of you something that must go far deeper, far wider than it has up to this point. And I really honestly don't care what specific piece where you're necessarily to. We have people that we're working with that are at $10,000 to $15,000 a month. We have people that we're working with at $100,000 a month. We're working with people that have 8-figure businesses. But the thing is, regardless of where it is, we have a mission of being able to solve every single problem the entrepreneur has. And for you, growth, operations, being able to truly stand up to that microphone and sing the tune that you were meant to sing. I think there is nothing more important. Zion, myself, our entire team, we are beyond dedicated to making that happen. We ourselves, we hit that abundant point and we said, this is what we shall do to be able to impact billions of people, because you have impact, such great impact. And right now, the chances are it's 1/1,000,000th of what it should and could be. And a lot of the time, it's just you making up your mind and committing to yourself and trusting yourself that it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Well, before we get more tears going on to go here, because I'm just going to start crying here in a minute. I don't even know if I remember the last hour and 12 minutes.
The most important thing is that, hey, you might not be in a position of abundance for you to go out and to serve the people that you want to serve. And quite frankly, you need to be in a position where you selfishly take care of yourself. So you stop giving from a place of scarcity. So you stop making decisions from scarcity so that we can get you to a point of abundance. And that abundance comes from consistency. It comes from the opportunity where your business serves you so that you have the opportunity to serve other people. And only then, when you get to a position where you are no longer worrying day after day, where, when you're going to be able to pay rent, when you're going to be able to pay your people, when you're going to be able to know when that next sale is coming from, you will not have the mind space or the capacity to operate from abundance. You won't have the mindset to think about other people. And what I'm telling you today is that that's okay, right? Just come as you are. We've read it all. Right? We've read it all. We've seen it all.
There's literally nothing that you can throw at either one of us. I mean, we've helped scale a lot of businesses. We've seen absolutely everything. Got to tell you, doesn't matter, even me and Zion too, there's at least once a week where we throw up our hands and be like, oh my God, can we even do this? And it doesn't matter at what point it is, you are always going to have challenges. You're always going to have obstacles. You know what? Entrepreneur is messy. I love the quote by Elon Musk. It's like chewing glass and staring into the abyss at the same time.
Yeah, guys. So if you haven't seen the application already, again, just fill it out. We would just love the privilege to have a conversation with you. If you are a good fit for one of our programs, we'll definitely make sure that we reach out. Both Scott and myself, as well as a lot of our team members, we're going to be reading over this. It's all going to be purely confidential. Just open up to us. I just want you to know that at the end of the day, that you are not alone. We create this company to serve you. We are aligned in this mission to serve you. And, we're just really excited to, have the opportunity to actually chat with you.
Boom. That's it.
A wrap,
that's a wrap.
So if you enjoyed this content and you want more of it, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. And if you want other entrepreneurs just like you to be able to also access this information, this knowledge, make sure you go ahead and share it with someone that means the most to you. Remember, as entrepreneurs, it's our job to be able to help other entrepreneurs continue to elevate, allowing us to evolve society and evolve our world. I'll see you next time. Bye.